GM, everybody, welcome back to the channel. And Bitcoin has made it. It's made it back to its all-time highs. Not yet an all-time high breakout, but certainly a breakout of the channel that we've been watching. And we did speak yesterday about the possibility of Bitcoin actually coming up a little bit higher and consolidating higher. And that's what we've seen. We've actually seen Bitcoin push up a little bit further now, coming back to the all-time highs, just shy of 74,000. And it's obviously strength. Bitcoin's looking good. We're currently just looking at a daily chart. We've closed multiple days now above this resistance, or should we say sort of 2 solid days above this descending trend line. So it's very much looking like a breakout. We've had confirmation in terms of the volume as well. If I just sort of come to this chart too, we can actually see that this is the one where we actually had the channel coming down, and we've now hit this green box that was drawn back in July actually of this year. I mentioned in one of my private chats, trading groups, to some friends and other traders that I thought Bitcoin would eventually tag this box back in July. I think it was early July when we were down here. So I said, look, the path is probably going to be some sort of chop, potentially lower, and eventually like coming up in the final quarter of the year higher to test the all-time highs late October, November. And that's exactly what we've done. So I'm fairly happy with that call. If we just go back to a slightly cleaner chart here, we can see that this path is, I still think this will play out. I still think, look, you know, we could end up consolidating a little bit higher, potentially trying to hold 70K on the downside. But I'm not expecting, like I say, I remain from the view from the previous week that I'm not expecting new all-time highs pre-election. I am, or should I say, like a full all-time high breakout pre-election. I am expecting Bitcoin to consolidate, to chop, to go sideways over the next few days. Potentially we see some more increased volatility and we get a move back under 70K, which would probably shake a lot of people out, make people a little bit bearish and a little bit worried and a bit anxious. But ultimately, I think this retest would get bought, and eventually Bitcoin will make its way to new all-time highs in likely in November, likely in within the next month. So I'm thinking probably another 2 or 3 weeks of chop and consolidation before we really start to get going a lot higher. We can also take a look at Ethereum as well. So Ethereum, just looking in terms of what Ethereum's actually done on let's go onto the weekly chart. We can see that we had this fib retracement in here, pretty much from the bear market lows till the highs at the start of this year. We've come all the way down, tagged the 618. We then found support there once, twice, pretty much two major times. Never did we close below our 200-week moving average. And for me, this is starting to look like a successful bottoming formation against that 200-week moving average, with Ethereum now starting to reclaim this flag pattern, this channel pattern. I guess you could say this has been invalidated, but it's obviously come down. We've not been able to see a huge amount of continuation under this pattern, and now we're coming back into it. So I do think Ethereum right here is looking pretty bullish. It is one of the few cryptos, or at least the only major crypto of the big three, that's actually positive today. So I'm thinking at the moment, Ethereum's still looking like a fairly good entry, and Ethereum is probably a decent catch-up trade. Certainly if Bitcoin can hold its breakout, then I think Ethereum could potentially outperform over the next few months. I did mention yesterday that Bitcoin typically has its best quarter in Q4, whereas Ethereum's tends to be Q1. So I expect Ethereum probably to lag Bitcoin over the next month or two, but for Ethereum eventually to catch up and probably see a decent move in Q1 of next year. And if Ethereum is going to take out these highs and make a challenge to its new, or to make a challenge to its previous all-time highs and to new all-time highs, I think that challenge will probably come in Q4 for Q1 of next year of 2025. So yes, I do think Ethereum, you know, even though it's still looking weak and we don't really have a solid breakout yet, I do think back above sort of 2,900, Ethereum starts to look a lot stronger, and I do think it could catch up Bitcoin and potentially make some ground on Bitcoin in terms of Ethereum BTC. And then the other major is Solana as well. So Solana currently finding resistance at its downsloping trend line here. Obviously, this is a trend line that's been in play from earlier this year. Obviously, we have the first touch, or the second touch in July, and we've just made a third touch. So this is certainly resistance for us right now. But like I say, I think what we probably see is Bitcoin consolidate and Solana probably consolidate as well. Possibly we see a bit of a pullback in both, but I expect this trend line probably gets broken when Bitcoin breaks its all-time highs, and that's when we see Solana really start to outperform. And taking a very quick look at the DXY, obviously DXY, the dollar index, is still struggling around its 618 Fibonacci retracement. So we would want to see this holding as resistance for the dollar and eventually seeing a rejection here to then provide a nice tailwind to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and the stock market. We are seeing consolidation at all-time highs on the S&P, and we are seeing the Nasdaq also make its way and near enough tag its all-time highs, also consolidating at its highs, which is very strong. So we've got the US dollar stalling, we've got stock markets consolidating at all-time highs, we've got Bitcoin that has now made its way back to its all-time highs and is consolidating also at these levels. So everything is very poised for a good positive remainder of Q4, and that will probably set us up to a pretty bullish start to next year as well, 2025. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow. GM.